The most brutal and frustrating and yet the most challenging and rewarding way to play Escape from Tarkov is solo. This takes all the best elements of Tarkov and turns them up to 11. Every death is devastating and every victory is that much more memorable. The lows are really low, but the highs are really high. Or at least that's how it should be. In this video, I want to go over how to get over solo anxiety, how to learn from your deaths, and talk through how to win more fights as a solo player no matter what your playstyle is. But before we do that, it's important to note that while Tarkov is incredibly fun to play as a solo player, unfortunately, all of the things that kind of plague Tarkov at the moment come down really hard on solo players. If you're hopping on for some Tarkov and you only have a few hours to play, maybe you're only going to get like 5 to 10 raids max. If you hop in, die to desync, and your next raid you die to somebody that you didn't hear because there was no audio, and then your next raid you die to a scav 361 tapping you from 200 meters away, maybe at some point in the night you die to a cheater. That's really brutal. That momentum can be really frustrating and it can be hard to want to keep playing the game. So in this video, I don't want to harp too much on those things because I have no power over them. I don't know how long it's going to be until those things are fixed, but they're there. It's brutal and it's frustrating. So I would say maybe take a break from Tarkov if you're really not enjoying that experience, or maybe don't play Tarkov solo. If you only play Tarkov solo because you don't have any people to play with, shameless plug for my Discord. The link is down below. We have 20,000 people in there. We have guides, looking for group channels, place to ask questions. It's an awesome place to be. However, if even in spite of the way Tarkov is now, you're one of those few people and you just want to master this game and you're addicted to that pain and playing this game solo, well then that's what the rest of this video is going to be for. If you watch my content before, you probably know that I'm primarily a duo player. Squads open up cool opportunities, but 3s, 4s, and 5s just end up being a fest of, is that you? Is that you? Where are you? And then end up team killing. And solos for me, until some of those other things are fixed, aren't necessarily super fun. So duo is a happy medium. Although over my 6,000 hours of Tarkov, I have definitely played hundreds of hours solo. So to hop right in and talk about that first thing, the title of the video, how to get over solo anxiety. Maybe you spend a ton of time in your stash, derping around, just waiting between scav raids. You don't really want to go into a PMC raid. Well, this is one of those things where truly the only way out is through. Dying a lot is going to be the best way to get over that solo anxiety. I know that sounds counterproductive. Of course, you don't want to go in there and intentionally die, but maybe a better way to put it is you won't have the solo anxiety after 100 times of dying with the best gear that you have on. It's really about learning to complete the cycle of Tarkov, which is dying with the stuff that matters to you, and then learning how to, either make some money in the game, or maybe you're playing and you've got a Mosin and you one tap a chat, and now you have his gear, you find some good gear in a stash, you make some money and you buy it. You're learning how to replace that gear. You're learning that the gear isn't really anything other than a way to facilitate fun gameplay experiences. If you spend all your time grinding up a ton of money and you never actually buy good gear and take that good gear, well, you're not completing that cycle. If you just die and die and then you get all the way down to 0 rubles and you uninstall the game, you're not completing that cycle either. So it's just one of those things where you just have to experience that, and you'll learn as you go. You'll learn how to make money, you'll learn how to get gear, and then losing that gear won't matter so much, and then you can focus on what's really important, which is just getting better at the game and getting better at mastering the experience. The second tip is learn from your deaths. This is incredibly important and so much more important for a solo player because you don't have a buddy to be like, oh, there was another person, he was back here. You don't have a squad of people that ditch your insurance and tell you exactly what happened. You die and it's game over, and a lot of times you don't know what happened. So any of these softwares, OBS Replay Buffer, Outplayed, NVIDIA Shadowplay, these are really light softwares, and it gives you the opportunity to record a minute, 30 seconds, maybe 2 minutes of what happened. As soon as you die, you click a button. Now you can go back and watch and see, oh, maybe I saw another guy up there, but I was super focused down here. The amount of times on stream, I yell, what happened? I got no audio there. And then we watch the clip back and I immediately eat my words because I realized, oh, I was just tunnel visioned on this guy. I did hear that audio, or maybe I was distracted talking to chat or something like that. So learn from those deaths, because like we said, the first tip is die a lot, and that's going to be the way that you learn. So give yourself the opportunity to learn from those deaths. Don't just maul, don't just rage, don't just blame all the things that plague Tarkov. In almost every single situation, there's something to learn from that to make yourself better. Now, all that being said, when we start talking about combat, when we start talking about being a solo player and getting in fights with other people in Escape from Tarkov, it all falls under the umbrella. All the tips I have fall under the umbrella of find the advantage. That's something you should be imprinting into your brain playing as a solo player. Every single situation is going to play out differently. You don't know how many people there are. You don't know how many squads there are. Maybe there's a boss that spawned. Maybe there's AI. You're in a different part of the map. So there's no black and white tip that's just going to make you better across the board. But this mentality, find the advantage. There's almost always an advantage to be had. You just have to kind of put the puzzle pieces together. You have to know your intrinsic advantage as a solo player. Every single thing you see and every single thing you hear is an enemy. This gives you tremendous power when you're fighting, especially other squads, which we're going to talk about in a little bit. It's all about knowing what your advantage is, knowing what your disadvantage is, in being that you don't have anyone to support you, and knowing how to find the advantage in any particular fight. One of the tips is learn how to play at the proper pace. Don't play too slow. Don't play too fast. Once again, there's no black and white rule on when to push somebody and when to be more reserved, but it's about finding and figuring out when those pieces come together. If you hear somebody popping a CMS or reloading a magazine, push that man. Don't hesitate. Be confident. Push. Swing that dude. Pre-fire them. If there's a clueless squad, you see them rolling around, they have no idea what's happening, they're unlocking doors or something like that. A lot of times, violence of action, run in there, push them, just start mowing them down, get one or two really quick, easy kills. Their Discord's going to explode and you're going to be able to win that fight before it even starts. But then on the flip side, maybe you were fighting somebody and now you're starting to hear some grenades and you hear a squad pushing you and they know you're there. They were chasing your shots. There is no advantage in just rushing out head first into the 4-man and try to get the clip. Obviously, you can do that if you want, but in that situation, slow it down. Don't give away your position. Listen for the audio. Play slow and listen. Listening is one of the most important things you can do as a solo player to gain as much information as possible. How many footsteps? How many of them are there? If they're throwing grenades, what kind of grenades are they throwing? Are they impact grenades? Are they blowing up really quick? Maybe they're VOGs. Are you hearing guns? How many guns are you hearing? You don't have to know exactly the sound of every single gun in the game, but it is important to start thinking about that stuff. If you run a lot of SKSs and you know what SKSs sound like and you hear an SKS and then you kill a guy and he's got a Mosin, well, where is the SKS? So maybe there's another guy. These kind of context clues you can really gather by listening, paying attention what you're listening to, and then using the audio that they're giving you to your advantage. Are they moving? Well, maybe that gives you an opportunity to move. Are they throwing a grenade at you? Well, then maybe you can hop out a window and they won't hear that position. Play slow when you need to play slow, play fast when you need to play fast. Learn how to weave in and out of those two play styles, and that will be really beneficial. Another hugely important tip when we're talking about combat and Escape from Tarkov, especially as a solo player, is don't hesitate. This is something that gets solo players killed a lot. They don't know what to do. There's a lot of overwhelming information, and they just sit in one spot and give the enemy the opportunity to either pinch them or just throw a bunch of grenades. You have to be confident and make a decision. This is going to be one of the best ways to learn. It's better to die doing something confidently than to die doing something while you're hesitating, or even win while you're hesitating. It doesn't really feel good that you just sat in a room the entire time until they figured you ran away, and then you caught the very last guy because he walked in front of the door and you just shot him and you won that fight. You didn't really intelligently win that fight. You just kind of got lucky through your hesitation. So the best way to learn is be confident, make a decision. If you die, that's okay. It's an opportunity to learn. What I did, I had to really force myself to do this. I hesitated a lot. I made it so that when I hear something, I have to make a decision right away. And if I don't know what that decision should be, my default is run away. And I know that sounds crazy, but I didn't want to just be running into fights and just dying over and over and over again, but I wanted to practice being confident. So if I didn't know what to do, I would reposition and I would get out of there. Now, they're either going to chase you and maybe you can just turn around and, you know, once they come out the door you came out, you can just shoot them, or you get to then move to a different position, rethink about the fight, and maybe think, okay, I want to go back in and enter this way and try and fight them, or I missed my opportunity. What should I have done there? If you get out of that situation and then realize the mistake you made, okay, I could have done this there, well, at least you survived. You can hop back in and you're less frustrated because you didn't just die. So be confident, make decisions really, really quickly, and always be thinking about how to find that advantage. Now, as a solo player, if you're fighting squads, there's a few tips that can help you dramatically when you're fighting a squad. One of the things, like we talked about earlier, is use their audio to your advantage. If you're fighting a squad, there's a lot of people moving around, audio super scuffed in this game, which means when you're fighting a squad, they are always asking this question. Is that you? Where are you? I'm on third. Where are you? Is that you moving? Are you moving? Crouch for me, jump for me. They're constantly filling their comms with that. So you get to use their audio to your advantage. Another huge thing when fighting a squad is try not to fight the entire squad at once. try to do whatever you can to isolate somebody out, take a 1v1, maybe try to do that again, take a 1v1. There's a bunch of different ways to do that. If you hear somebody, if you see them all down there and then you hear somebody moving and run away, they're probably trying to flank you, and your best thing is to probably move out of your position and try to catch that person in a flank, because now it's a 1v1. And then if you take that and if you win that, okay, boom, how can I do that again? Throwing grenades down into where an enemy's position is. A lot of times people are just going to scatter, they're going to move, and if you see somebody move away, maybe you can take a quick 1v1 there. Try to isolate out and break up the squad whenever possible. A lot of times they're going to do this for you, or by your positioning, your movement, your grenades, your utility, you can actually kind of push them around and do this for them, but try not to take the entire squad on at once. And then the other thing when you're fighting a squad or really any sort of combat as a solo, movement is king. Movement is your best friend. Maybe not at the beginning, like we said, play slow and listen. But once you have opened up that engagement, don't just sit still. Last known position is a very important thing that you can abuse. You can kind of exploit the fact that the human brain is always, well, he was here the last time I saw him and I don't know where he is, so I'm gonna look down this way. You can exploit the fact that they're going to always be either moving in or throwing grenades or shooting at your last known position. So maybe you shoot somebody, you kill them, you've picked one off the team, immediately go for a flank, immediately reposition, or immediately push, do whatever it is, but move around the map. And there's a lot of things you can do to distract your enemy or even convince them that they're fighting a team. If you're transitioning from the first floor to the third floor of a building, when you get to the second floor, throw a random nade out there. Before you make a flank, pop, 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 shoot 3 random shots out a glass window. If they hear shots in a glass window, they're going to think, hey, was that at you? Was that at you? No, it wasn't at me. They're probably going to think either somebody else is rolled up, that you're in a fight, maybe a third party, maybe they're going to push you because they're going to try and capitalize on an opportunity, or you're just going to convince them that there are more people around than there actually is, and you can keep them on the back foot. Movement keeps that team on the back foot because they're constantly having to relay all this information. Oh, I think he's over here. Oh, I think he's over here. Oh, I think he's making a flank. Is that you? Is that you? If you keep them talking, then they're going to be distracted. They're going to miss audio cues and you're going to be able to maneuver on them. So once again, do something, do it quickly. Don't hesitate. Try to take the 1v1s and reposition as often as possible.
Yo.
Oh, hello.
How you doing?
I'm doing all right. How you doing?
Did I just kill your friend over here?
No, I'm solo.
Oh. Oh, I thought I killed your friend over here.
Did I just kill your friend back here?
Yeah, you kind of did. I didn't like that whatsoever.
Bro, what? That might be the greatest flip of all time. The last tip for solo players is that if there is no advantage to be had, run away. You don't have to take every fight. You don't have to be this Giga Chad. We see these streamers, we see these guys with 10 billion rubles taking every single fight. And I understand it. That's fun and it's entertaining, but they got there by mastering these simple skills that we're talking about. They're good at knowing when to take fights and when to leave fights in the beginning of the wipe. And they do that so proficiently that they make so much money that by the end of the wipe, all they want to do is PvP. So don't chase after that playstyle just because. You don't have to take every single fight. If you don't have an advantage and you're trying to make money and you're trying to survive, just run away from that fight and either re-engage later or get out and live to fight another day. You don't have to take every single fight. You can just get out, prioritize survival, and then hop into the next raid. So I hope that this stuff helped. Like we said, solo is really, really frustrating, really brutal, but really rewarding. And you can play solo and you can be proficient no matter what your play style is. You don't have to just be the Giga Chad. I know people that snipe and play a lot of sniping and they know their holds and they know their leads and they do that solo and they're really proficient. People that enjoy the really small maps like Factory Labs, people that enjoy the much more open maps. You can play however you want to play, but hopefully these core principles can help you be proficient at finding the advantage, understanding what your advantage is, and leveraging that for success, whatever success is for you, making a bunch of money, getting into PvP, avoiding PvP, no matter what. So hopefully this helped. If you like this video, think about dropping a like, commenting down below, or subscribing to the channel for more content like this. I stream Escape from Tarkov 6 days a week on Twitch. All my links will be down below. I'd love to have you stop by and say hey. And like we said before, our Discord's an awesome place to be. That link is down below as well. Thank you again for stopping by, and I will definitely see y'all on the next one.